Hello and welcome everyone to another stream. This is Dmitry. I am in my Georgia Tech shirt today, but no hat, as you can see. I decided to change something just for today. Well, first you probably have noticed that this stream is on Saturday, not Sunday. I will explain why in just a moment when I will start going through announcements. So today we are going to continue writing our GNS3 Python library, which is called GNS3 utils, and I have a typo right here. And the idea here is that this library provides a command line interface for you to control your GNS3 server. So you can use GNS3, something like CI/CD pipelines. The motivation for me to write this was first I was inspired by project Viral Utils written by my Cisco colleague Kevin Corbin, and I saw its usage, and you could just say, viral start or viral stop on something like that, and I really thought it's a great idea, and I realized that there is nothing like that for GNS3. That said, GNS3 has very extensive API, so everything you do in the GUI can be done by API, so there should be absolutely no obstacle to do that. So I thought it was a good idea, and even a better idea to write this live on the stream. So last time we started prototyping the design. So at first I thought we were going to write Python code last time, but we didn't. We just spent most of the time understanding how this interface would look like, because it's not as simple as one might think, and I do really want this to be a good tool. So trying to figure out the design of the tool is important. And with the help of one of my friends, I think we came up with an interesting idea, which partially takes good stuff from virtual env, Docker interface, Vagrant interface. I'm not really sure how much this work is going to take, if it's like, I don't know, 20 hours project or 300 hours project, but we'll see. So okay, so for today we are actually going to start writing code according to our design prototype, but I also open for suggestions from the audience. So if you think you have a better idea of the command line interface than what we came up with, just let me know, and we'll discuss this, because this is like, I just started this project. I may not know what would be the best here, and everyone has different use cases, so it may vary from person to person. So I'm really open for any kind of feedback here, and so yeah, just let me know. Okay, so as usual we have a couple of announcements, and it's kind of like part of my mini vlog. So first of all, for several weeks now we had this contest where you could have won a book, and here's the book. It's a Cisco Software-Defined Access printed copy, and which talks about how software-defined access really works, all Lisp and VXLAN and SGTs and all of that. Very good book from my perspective. So to win in this contest, you could have sent me either the email about if the stream helps you in any way and describe to me how, or if you have a really good idea that you think it would be cool to cover on the stream. So we didn't have a lot of submissions, I must say, but that's alright, because I am very niche streamer, and I just started not so long time ago, and I do realize that not so many people can watch live, and my recordings are 3-4 hours long, so also not so many people will watch this in recording. That's understandable, but we did have one really detailed comment and an idea. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to cover that live, but I really did appreciate the effort of this person, and among all of the submissions, I think that one was the best. So his name is Ioannis, and I don't want to even try to pronounce the last name, because I will 100% pronounce it incorrectly, but he knows. So Ioannis, thank you very much, and first, congratulations with winning the book, and I would like to thank everyone who participated and everyone who is joining my streams. But Ioannis, you will receive this printed copy of SDA book. Please contact me by any means after the stream. I also tried contacting you, but no success so far, so that we can arrange shipping. Okay, so the contest is over now. That said, I would still love to hear any kind of feedback about my streams, or any kind of new ideas that or something that you would like me to cover. Okay, so second announcement is I'm going to US again tomorrow, and that's the reason why we don't have a stream tomorrow, and we have a stream today which probably is going to be shorter than usual. I think we'll have like 2.5 hour max, because I still have to pack all of my stuff for a long trip. So I will be in RTP for a week, and then I will go to Orlando, and Cisco Life is almost there. So Cisco Life US will start next Sunday in Orlando, and two days before that we have DevNet Express for digital network architecture DNA track, which I and a lot of colleagues from sales and DevNet team participated in writing content. So the whole track was rewritten from scratch. This will be a DNA version 3 of DevNet Express, and at Cisco Life, this will be our first ever event where we deliver this new content live. So DevNet Express is 2-day event where we teach people about network programmability from the very beginning, according to some specific track. So if you have registered for it, awesome. I don't think there are any more slots open right now. Registration is closed, but if you have registered, it's awesome. I will see you there. I will be in presenters team, and then of course we'll have Cisco Life, and honestly this is my most favorite event every year. This is my fourth Cisco Life, so I have been to one in US and two in Europe before, and every time I go there, I feel great. I feel happy because I have a chance to talk to so many people, to people that I know virtually, to people that I don't know, to customers, to Cisco colleagues that you work with every day but you never see face to face. Honestly, I am amazed by Cisco Life every year, and so many network engineers are coming there, and for me Cisco Life is community first. I personally don't really go to a lot of sessions at Cisco Life because first I have my sessions, so I have to prepare and deliver them, and second I do think that meeting people is much more important. But you know, everyone has different priorities, and that's alright. So if you are there, again, let me know. Come and say hi. Let's talk about streams, networking, or network programmability, or any other topic you would like to talk to me about. Also, as I am presenter there, I cordially invite you to my sessions. I have a couple, but I will just mention one that I am extremely excited about. The session is called Make Your Applications Faster with Async.io. While I will be talking, I will find it in the catalog. And this is the first time ever Async.io is covered live, and this is, as far as I know, the first time it's covered in the networking context ever in the world. I may be wrong here, but I haven't found anything in the recordings or some other talks out there at the conferences about how to apply Async.io in networking context. It's not like it's very different from everything else, but it has some specific domain specific libraries that I didn't see covered anywhere else. So I'm extremely excited about this session because this is something new for me, new for audience as well. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully. And my left AirPod always falls from my ear, so I guess I will just have to get rid of it. Let me see. So here it is. So Async.io, make your applications faster with Async.io. It will be on Tuesday, and there are 2 slots at 11:30 and 2:30. Then at workshop 7. I will be very, very pleased to see you there. So yeah, if you are there and if you know some Python, come to my session. The session is not going to be recorded, so this is your chance. So speaking of the session, actually this whole day and yesterday's night I was spending with creating topology for this session. So I almost got it done. I still have to, I created the topology with devices there, but and with configs and all that stuff, I still need to write some code snippets. But yeah, it's going well. So very excited about this session. Okay, and the last news for today is that I started a new semester at Georgia Tech. If you didn't know, I'm studying for my master degree in Georgia Tech. It's Master of Science in Computer Science, and I'm doing machine learning specialization. It's 100% online degree, but it's really a lot of work, and I had to skip some semesters before. I can't skip semester now, but I'm trying to find the time for it. This time I took Introduction to Operating Systems course, where I have to learn how to program in C before, which I don't really know. But the course is talking about how operating system works, the threads and forking and kernel and all of that stuff. So very excited about this subject. That said, it's a lot of work. So probably I will not have a lot of sleep as usual. Okay. Oh, by the way, I just remembered another thing that I didn't put on the list, but this. So, couple of months ago on Reddit, I saw this post about ENMS, which seems to be a very interesting network automation project, which is a GUI for managing your network, where you can define, well, first you have graphical view of your devices, like, on the map, and then you can define some kind of workflows there, like, okay, I would like to run this script, and then this script, and this script on like 50 devices or something like this. It's developed very rapidly, and it seems very interesting to me. A couple of days ago, another person referred me to this project, and I'm actually very curious to touch it myself. So let me first show to you where you can find it. No, this one. So this is a thing, and there is a link here, and there is a map where you can see all the routers, blah blah blah. There is a lot of very interesting stuff there. So you can apply your Ginger to configs via SSH, and the very interesting one was workflows, but I don't see it here. Actually, this is not it. Oh, this is old project, I'm sorry. This is not correct one. Here, this one. Yeah, this one. ENMS. So this is how it looks like. I do think design looks actually pretty okay. Again, judging by the screenshot, I haven't touched it myself yet. You can schedule some tasks, and I don't see it here, but there is also this creation of scripts and workflows. So there is this. Basically, you can define some chains of things that you need to do. I'm very curious about this project, so probably on one of the streams we are going to cover it, maybe in like a month or so. Okay, so that's all these announcements. Now let's go right into the today's topic. So we are writing our GNS3 utils, command line library to interact with GNS3 server. So I did reach out to GNS3 developers for some of the questions that I had, plus to get some feedback. They didn't have a lot of time for me, but I did manage to get some replies. So a couple of things. So first I was exploring their API, and I was saying that not everything is there, blah blah blah. Apparently they do have a complete GNS3 API page, which I just didn't find. So let's see. Excuse me. Okay, so this is a page which we saw last time, and let's see, and the link here is this one, endpoints, and this is where there is all of their APIs. So this is a link that I was looking for. So, and I learned a little bit more about their internal architecture. So they have what is called GNS3 server or GNS3 compute and GNS3 controller. You may have many compute servers out there to distribute lot of the nodes, but you may have only one controller, and controller is the one that has your GNS3 project. It has a list of all of the projects, and it talks via again API to the server itself. So at some point last time I remember that we were trying to access compute API, but honestly it has absolutely no sense. Everything should be done via the controller API. Another interesting thing is that by default installation, you install GNS3 controller and server locally on your together with GUI. And if you do that, you are assigned random. First, your thing is your server is. There is authentication if you want to access it, and the credentials are assigned randomly. So you would actually need to, if you are using this default setup, you would need to go here, and I will not click on enable local server, but somewhere there you can put your username and password static, and this is what you have to do if you want to get this working. Alternatively, there is something like a checkbox if you want to protect it with credentials or not. So what I did though, I switched from the main server, and I do believe that their terminology is a little bit confusing. They never specify in the preferences that it's actually a controller. It's not it's not a like GNS3 server per se. But here what I did, I moved my controller and the server to remote node, where I usually deploy my topologies. So basically my API should work with controller, and it should not really care where the project is located, because it's the job of the controller to do the dispatching and all that stuff. So yeah, this is very important. I'm also very excited that they have complete API. Everything that I need is right here. And if you click on any of these links, for example, projects, it says to you what is available. For example, you see there is get on this, and it will give you a list of projects, or you may have post and you will actually create a new project on the server. So even that is possible if you do have GNS3 file. So everything is right here. You can also like reload the nodes, suspend the nodes. So last time I remember I was playing with their debugger here. I was saying like debug 2 or something, and then we were trying to figure out what is happening on the backend. So that's good that that is not needed. Okay. So we will use this page extensively. Now let me go to my notes on the design things that we agreed. Well, we thought of, right? This is our first brainstorming on this project. So what we agreed upon was something like this, where you are in CLI and you say GNS3 server add, and you say where is your controller located. Now I'm actually curious, maybe I should actually change the server to controller. Maybe not, I'm not sure yet. I mean, I do understand the correct terminology would be controller, but you will not see controller in the GNS3, so it may be confusing. But let's leave it like this right now. So you say GNS3 add, and you put the server, and you should also assign like a name for the server, like short name, and your credentials for the server if you have any specified. Now you have a CLI where you can say GNS3 servers, or I'm thinking alternative would be GNS3 server ls or something, maybe this. And then you say GNS3 server, and I think something like select emerald. You select the servers that you specified here, and now your prompt is changed. You see now it's kind of like virtual env, and when you activate your virtual environment in Python, you have your virtual environment appended to the PS1 prompt. So now your prompt is like this, where you see the server, and in this context you can say GNS3 labs or GNS3 projects, and you will be able to see all of the labs that are available to you. And then you can say GNS3 lab, I'm thinking actually ls would be better, GNS3 lab ls, GNS3 lab select, for example. GNS3 lab select stream lab 1, this is the name of your lab, and now you're switched to your lab context. And I was thinking actually what would make more sense is to have something like streamlab1 at emerald, something like this. So, and in this context now you can say GNS3 nodes and GNS3 up and GNS3 up R1 and GNS3 console and reload and all of that stuff. So let me know guys what you think about this kind of command line interface API. If you have better ideas, I'm all in, and I would be very interested to hear what ideas you have. So there were also a couple of things that were kind of like ambiguous, but I think we will also figure them out. So for example, you selected the wrong lab, right? You want to go back to previous level to your server context. You would say GNS3 ... It's the same way you do cd ... or something. Another one is maybe you want to completely end your you want to go back to your default prompt. And I was thinking here of GNS3 end or something. You can also say exit, I think, but actually I like exit more right now, because in shell, if you want to exit the shell or in SSH session, you do exit actually. Now another one is maybe you want to just switch the lab or server. So here I was thinking about GNS3 switch lab or GNS3 switch server, something like this. So you can, if you know the name of the lab, you can just switch the context. And the last one was, well, probably you would also in most of the workflows you have just a couple of labs that you start all the time. At least this is my use case. So when I was preparing for CCIE, I had this INE CCIE RS lab topology with 10 routers and 4 switches and blah blah blah, and I was using it all the time. So I was thinking that probably we should also remember the last lab, and you would put it in some kind of dot file in your home directory. What is the name and the server for your last lab. So now if you open a new tab where you don't have this context, your prompt is empty, you would say GNS3 shell, and this one I borrowed from pipenv actually, and you will look on your dot file in your home directory, and you will bring back the correct GNS3 lab and server context. So after you do this, you will end up on this prompt again. So this is everything I came up with. So most of the stuff here is I think it's pretty straightforward to do. Besides, the only thing like I am very nervous about is changing the prompt. I have absolutely no clue how to do that. So we will see. I will try to see what virtual environment does and copy the same approach. Most of this other stuff, I don't see any problems implementing that. Like honestly, it should be pretty straightforward. That said, there is a bunch of work here. Okay. Any thoughts, ideas before we start writing code? Okay, I don't see any comments in the chat. Okay, so let's start. I do have to tell you though that I haven't written any kind of API wrapper before. I know some people did, and examples like Cisco Spark API or viral utils, and there are many other projects that do that. And I saw good projects and I saw bad projects as well. I'm not sure I do have right now the right expertise to build the perfect command line utility, but I will just do my best. We'll see where it goes. Even if it fails, that's alright too. Okay. Honestly, among all of this, what I don't like is this select statement. This one bothers me a lot. I think it's ugly. But I also don't want to remove this select because you have to you need different commands for, like, you want to add server or you want to select server, so you do need correct keywords here, like add select or whatever. So I don't think we can just get rid of this and put a server name. Okay, whatever. So if you're going to start writing the library, and I am still not sure if I should go with this or not. So there is this library called click, and this is usually the go-to tool for writing Python Python command line utilities. It has interesting API, but last time I explained to you why I hate it. I literally hate this, because on the Mac, if you don't specify the environmental variable lc_all, it will fail at runtime, and sometimes it's very hard to explain to people how you need to put environmental variables. So I don't want to do that really. Even though I would love to use this library, that problem drives me nuts. For example, because of the same problem, I can't use Python Black plugin in PyCharm. It fails, and I didn't have any workaround. PyCharm doesn't respect my environmental variables for plugins, so I can't use the Black plugin anymore in PyCharm. I have to invoke Black manually. So I do have a lot of internal hate towards Click. So I guess we will not use it, and we will just fall back to argparse, which is default built-in library, but it doesn't have this nice interface. Okay, let's start. So I already had some boilerplate here. We had pip file log. Oh, and by the way, during the week I spent a bunch of time I do have some feedback that something wrong with my sound. Okay, hold on guys, let me try fixing that. Okay. Okay, awesome. So I spent a bunch of time on this and on pipenv. While I think it's an interesting project, I already shared all of my thoughts about this. I'm going to use this tool for all of my projects, but it doesn't mean that I think it's the best. It's a greatest tool. Let's put it that way. I spent so much time trying to understand behavior of every command in pipenv, and honestly, I don't think official docs are that good. Even though they cover most of the stuff, I don't think they're good. I really had to take almost every single command that pipenv provides and play with it in my test project to really understand what I'm trying to do and what my workflow should be. So honestly, this was annoying. I spent on pipenv GitHub bug tracker much more time than I really wanted to. That said, I did find there, well, besides some ignorance from the maintainers, and honestly in some places they were being complete jerks to people contributing to the project or asking a question, I did find one very good thing that I am going to find in my notes right now. which if you want to use pipenv, I think this would be a great thing for you to read. It's like 1 minute thing. Yeah, this one. So this guy is collaborator on this project, and this issue was about some comment again, blah blah blah. And here somewhere in the thread, this person said, I don't understand what every command does and how my workflow should be. And this guy did very small write-up, but it was so helpful for me that it explains basically what do you do on different machines. So like, okay, for a new project you do this. You could also do install, or you can do this or whatever. He explained most of the stuff. So I will just put this into the chat if you would like to save it for you for future or read it. It's like 1 minute comment. But guys, I do encourage you, if you want to switch to pipenv, do dedicate some time and create some test project to understand what it's trying to do. Because otherwise you will see very unintended consequences when you try to deploy your application. Okay. Now another interesting stuff that I found was yesterday, and it is this. And it's PEP 518, which talks about PyProject toml file. And this file has very similar structure as pip file, but this file is designed to replace the setup py script. And first it explains why this is needed. The main problem is setup py is that it's Python script that uses setup tools, and you need to have specific version of setup tools to be able to execute everything that is done in the same script describing how to install your application. So it's this PAP explains in details why this is a bad idea. So the idea, what they came up is to actually replace setup py with this declarative file, which you can extend later down the line or with some extra stuff or whatever, and then you need your tools to be able to recognize this file and work with this file. I haven't read the whole PEP. I just started reading it yesterday, I think, but I do understand the reasoning why they want this and why they want to replace setup py. I don't yet know if pip supports this yet. Let me see. Pip support. I think they actually implemented support. So we may try this. That said, I'm not sure if I like know what I'm doing in this case. I have used setup.py file for my libraries before, but I haven't used PyProject toml at all. So I have absolutely no clue. You know what we are going to do? There is this guy that says that his project is using PyProject toml. Let me see. Oh, so okay, just to clarify, it seemed that you still need setup by, but what you are trying to do is put your dependencies for your project into this file. Let me see. Oh, yeah, and I also found out about this library called Fleet. And Fleet is very similar to what setup tools are doing, and it uses has this declarative format for your library generation. You know what, guys? I don't think I am going to use this. Honestly, I just don't feel confident that I will get the results that I want with this. But I decided that, you know, if I learned about this new stuff, I will at least share my thoughts, or, you know, so that you also are aware. But I don't think for this project we are going to use this. I just don't feel like, I feel like if I will start, you know, digging and stuff, it will just take so much of our time. So probably we are not going to use this. We are just going to use setup.py file. And I already had a boilerplate that I took from one of my previous projects. Okay. So let me think. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Viral Utils, the project that I was inspired with, and I will see what they are doing to see if maybe I have maybe I will getting inspired by some of the stuff here. So the setup by tests, bunch of libraries, G unicorn. Oh wow, and Flask. Okay, so it also builds a web or something. Entry points. Okay, console scripts. Okay, I used entry points before, so I know roughly how it's done. Requires list. I will definitely need this. Oh, and this one is also using click. Interesting. Okay, let's see. Viral. Okay, so this file seems to create a class for file server. It has a bunch of properties. and you specify your how you need to build your requests using authentication data from the server. Okay, I like the structure. Check not reachable. Credentials. Okay, you can provide credentials via a lot of different ways. I think I'm going to support end file in the directory and command line interface. Okay, what is here? Okay, this one you can get a repos with viral files. Interesting. Let me see. I have really mixed feelings about this. I mean, I really want to use click, and at the same time I don't want to use click. I really like how you specify something like here, and you can have this file structure that you go one layer deeper and deeper. And then you get your arguments using keyword args. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just start writing something and then we'll try to understand how to turn this into a working thing. Also, just for the test, let's do this. Let's create a new virtual environment. And source it. And we do pip install requests, and let's see. Oops. Let's also upgrade pip and setup tools, by the way. Okay, awesome. So what I want to see I guess I will need to install it not in virtual environment though. I will have to install it in the system one, I guess, because it just, you know, puts a bunch of binaries, which are just shell scripts to run Python, but that's alright. So pip36 install utils. Okay, viral. Okay. Yeah, as I told you, let's just start writing code and see where it will take us. We'll refactor it as needed instead of trying to do a perfect solution. You know, now that I look at this, I do really like this kind of, like, you can really get this nested command line interface with click. And if I think about this more, I think it will be pretty goddamn painful to implement this with argparse. Because with argparse you don't really have hierarchy of your command line calls like you may have here. Yeah, I guess I will have to fall back to click. That's alright. Okay, so let's look on our list, and let me do this. Let me do a split view. And I don't remember how you can do it here. run tools, window. Okay, I think it's this way. Yeah, it's split vertically. Okay, I do need to see nodes. Okay, so our first thing is to add the server, and when we start this command we will need to have a name of the excuse me. You'll need to have a short name for the server and credentials, which may be present or not present. I did like how he had this directory called API, and there he had just call it controller. Doesn't really matter at this point. Okay, and he had the class like like viral server. I do like class GNS3 controller server. So I also have to keep in mind that I need to write Python 3.4 compatible code, so I can't use a lot of cool features like f strings and stuff. Yeah, excuse me guys, I really didn't get a lot of sleep this last week. Okay, so first we need to write our init. So GNS3 server, what it needs to have absolutely. It needs to have actually it doesn't need to have anything mandatory. So by default it should try connecting to localhost. So let's do this. It will have host, which can be none. Let me see if I remember syntax correctly. I would love to use type annotations, but the new syntax is only for Python 3.5 and 6, but not for Python 3.4, so I'll need to fall back to hash comments. So let me do this. This one. Here. Okay, so double space and here type none. Okay, something like this. Okay. So host. I'm thinking of just taking the string and host by default is going to have I think by default it's trying HTTPS, whatever. Okay, so I need a host and I need server name, which by default will be localhost. No, let's do this. None. Then username, none, and password is none. Okay. So then this type is going to be optional str. This will be optional str. Okay. And the init function returns none. Okay, we need to have some other file. Actually, I can just put it here. So first we need another init file here. Okay, so we have self we'll have self host no default host no, it's actually localhost 3080. Okay, and this is going to be named localhost, so let's do this. If host is none, self host is equal to default server host, and then self name is equal to default server name. But if the host is not none, then self host is equal to host, and then we have to check if the name is not none. So if the name is none, we need to raise an exception saying name can't be empty. Server name can be empty. Okay, and then we assign self name is equal to name. Okay, now basically, and self username is equal to username and self password is equal to password. Okay. Type signature has too few arguments. Function has duplicate type signatures. What is going on? Interesting. This looks good to me. Why it's yelling at me? Type signature has too few arguments. Oh, this is a different file. It's main. Invalid syntax. Okay, you are correct. Yeah, no, called on type function main. Okay, now it's working. Okay, so we have our init. So there are a couple of things that this init has to do. So this init is going to be called this init is going to be called when we are adding a server. Well, no. Here just creating a server object. Okay, we may have class method which will have add. Now we need to save the credentials to disk. We need to remember our name and host name and username and password somewhere in the home directory in the file. I'm going to check something in the project. I really don't remember this. So setup I should look for console scripts and it says viral CLI main viral. Okay, let's go there. Viral CLI. I don't see here main though. Oh, here it is. this is going to be in the home directory. No, it's just a default. It's going to be called GNS3 utils. From GNS3 utils constants py import default config file. Here we need to open this. First we need to try reading this. Try and we will need PyYAML here because I like YAML. We will need to install it as well. Okay, let's see how to read YAML file. Okay, so if this failed, I'm thinking if we're trying to read the file and for some reason we couldn't read it. First I thought, oh, I will just, create a new one anyway, but now that I think about this more, this will not be the best approach, I guess. But also, if I think about this, why do I care about what is in the file? If we call this GNS3, oh no. Damn it. Well, if you call serialize, it means I want to write the server to the file regardless of what is there. Alternatively, when we init it, I need to be able to say, well, let me first check the current file and read settings from there, or I will fall back and create a new one. So let me look on my notes again. So imagine I already said GNS3 server add, and I added a server. No, if we're saying GNS3 server add, maybe you want to have a list of servers. I don't know, you have one at home, one somewhere else, and you switch between them. If we already have an API GNS3 server add, you don't want to delete the previous server at all. So we need to read the server. We need to read the config file and see what servers are there. And then this is more complicated than I think it would be. Yeah, here is what we need to do. We need to say path lib input or path, and we need to check if the file is already there. Path lib home directory. There is path.home. Okay. So first we check if okay, full path is path.home, and then default config file, and then we need to check we check if the file is there, and if it is, then we have to read it first. During reading we may have some problems, so we erase. You know what? Why are we catching this? If it fails, it fails. So we will open this file for reading using YAML. Okay, and this will be I'm thinking that probably we'll need to abstract this also to class like config or something, because there will be operation for the config file, so we will use like add the latest. We will want to add the latest server that we activated and the latest project. So this will be one thing which will be stored in config file. Another thing will be all of the servers lists. So there are at least a couple of things that should be taken into account. Maybe also config object is going to handle changing the shell, which may be tricky. So I'm thinking what I should do is I need to create a class for configs where there are methods to read current config and update current config and yada yada yada. Because I will have to pass this config object throughout everything. Yeah, we will definitely need a class. So let's do and let's also think how this config object is created. This config object is created well, you basically pass config file and that's pretty much it, and we should read it. Okay, so config file name, and it can be none. So typing import optional, and then we say, well, self config file name. Well, we'll check first what I'm doing. I need to say type optional str. Okay, now I have this. Now I can say, well, if config file name is none, then self config file name is default config. No, then it's that passlib stuff. So from passlib import path. So then this one, that's unfortunate. No, that's actually fine. Let's do this. Okay. Config file path. Config path. It's alright. Self config path will be path_lib. No, it will be path dot home, and then we need to import our constants. So from GNS3 utils constants import default config file. So default config file, else self config path is equal to, let's also try this, b is equal to so I can say path from interesting. I need to put what interpreter for this. So config file name, okay, self config path. Okay, so we create a config which we can, well, we know its path. Now it's time to open it. Well, let's first create save function. So we can save this config. By doing the following, we can this open I will actually try with open self config path as write as f, and then we need to dump our YAML, which I didn't create yet. Oops. You may have a property which will have I have to think this through. So here we will actually load it first. With open, well, very similar thing. Config path, right, read sf. YAML config will be YAML.load f except auth error logger error. Oh, now I have to set up my logger. If there is one thing that I literally hate about Python, is logging. I never could comprehend it. So I usually use some kind of samples that I found somewhere else, and then I just a little bit adjust them. Okay, right now we will not have logger. Too early. I will just re-raise exception. No. We'll just let it crash. With auth error. Okay, we create a YAML config which will load. Now we have to parse it though. Well, this config is not YAML anymore. I can say just config. And okay, let's also put types. Okay. Okay, config is going to be a dictionary. Where the key string and everything else is unknown. So here we say, well, self underscore parse config. Okay, so two things that we need to do here. We need to create this property and we need to create this parse thing. Okay, parse. This is tricky. Ah, damn it. So config may have servers. Which is going to be a list, and this is going to be type list of this is going to be a list of GNS3 servers. Hello Timothy. I'm creating a command line utility to control GNS3 server. So you have a GNS3 server with a bunch of projects, but instead of going to GUI and clicking all this stuff, what you want to have sometimes is to have very easy command line interface. So this is what I'm creating. So you could say something like GNS3 start a new project name, or GNS3 node R1 reload, or something like this, you know. So, and the main purpose of doing it this way is that you can use this kind of library to include in CI/CD pipelines. So if you want to, I don't know, you do your configuration management via Ansible, for example. So you change something in Ansible, you create a test for it. You would like to test this change on your network, maybe on virtual network. So you could plug tool like this into your CI/CD script, which will say, okay, when I commit this change, I'm going to do this shell command, which is going to be GNS3 up my project name. Then I'm going to run my Ansible playbook on this, and then I'm going to run another Ansible playbook for testing all the changes, verifies that everything is correct. And now if it's correct, I tear down the topology using GNS3 down or something. So this is the idea, so that you could use this in your CI/CD pipelines. An alternative, some people just prefer command line interface if they're doing something easy. For example, like when I was studying for CCA, every day I was using INE topology. So the only thing I don't need to change anything in the GUI. I know topology, I have printed copies of it, right? But I just want to get it quickly up and running, and I would like to know how to get to the console. This is what I need to do, right? So this is the purpose of this tool. Okay, so you'll have a list of servers which may be empty, and we will have last access server and last access project. So we'll have last access used server, and this is going to also refer to GNS3 server object, and then we will have last used lab, and this is going to be, we'll add this later because we don't have a class yet for this. Now that I think about this more, I have concerns with this. Or maybe not. We'll see. I think it could be alright. Okay, so this maybe will be a string, but I don't know yet. So maybe I will turn this into a string. Okay, let's try doing this parsing function. So we have our config object, which we get from here, which is YAML. Well, we convert this to dict. Now we parse this, which is dictionary of string of any. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to do this for server in config. Let's do this. Servers is config get actually, no, that's alright. Okay, so config get servers. So this, and if servers for server in servers, we need to add a new server. Okay, host name, username and password. All of those may be optional. I think I can just do this server ticked. Okay, and then self servers append server Okay, so now we went through every server in our config file and added this this GNS3 server object to our config file. No, not to our config file, just to our config itself. So this was one part. Besides this, we'll need another function which says dev get server, and you specify name, and you would use type you will get GNS3 server object, and type will be here string. Okay. Why it's yelling at me though? Remove. Okay, so besides doing this, we will also need to have an index self named server index. So this will be dictionary. Dictionary of string to GNS3 server. Okay, so whenever we go through the server list, we are going to add the server to the index as well. So I can say self name to server server.name is equal to server. Okay, so I have an index now. I also need this function get server, which basically returns self name to server from name. And I'm writing sloppy code here because I would need to let's do this. If name in self name to server, we return this. Otherwise, we raise value error. Actually, I think it should be index error. Let me remember. So I have empty dictionary here, and I say B1 to 3. Just key error. Okay. So key error, and I say name unknown. No, let's be more specific. Server name is not present in the config name. Okay, good. I need to go back to my Pi cheat sheet. Hmm. Okay. Okay, so we can get a specific server. So now I'm thinking if this should be just a name. Python 3 has a type hinting syntax you can use instead of type. I'm not sure it's available in 3.4. Let me double check. Python. I do use Python 3.6 variables and type and functions type annotations, but this specific project must be Python 3.4 because GNS3 requires Python 3.4. Let's see. Python type annotations. Type annotation. That's nice. Okay, Python 3.6 added syntax for variable annotations. Okay, this one I remember. What about functions? Well, actually I can't try because I don't have Python 3.4 on my computer. I mean, I could install and all of that, but I just don't want to. So I can't really check. Yeah, I think so as well. I think for functions and classes you can do it in 3.5, but if you want to use it for variables you need 3.6. That's why I remember that there was nothing about this at all when there was Python 3.4, so whatever. Okay, it will just leave this way. Okay, so the interesting question that I have now is here. Is this now can be either a name or like it can be just a string, or it can be an actual object. I think I will leave it as string, by the way. For now, I can always change this. So this will be string, and this will be string. Last used lab, last used server. Okay. So when I parse, so first I parse the servers. Well, actually, now I'm second guessing myself here. But imagine we have a config file which have a server which is not in the list. We would like to fail fast, and instead of just saving the string name, I would like to yell at you, say hey. So yeah, let's look on this from this perspective. I'm using this config file. I use some command like GNS3 shell or GNS3 server add, and it could be fine because config says that this specific thing is a string, it's not an object. So two things I can think of. First, we can just check if the string is represents a valid object and still save it as string, or just convert it to object and don't stop caring about it. I think I'm going to do this, yeah. I'm going to convert this to object, and this one I still don't know because the lab is a what you have as part of the server. It's not necessarily what you have. With lab, I think it should be a string though. The reason why is that we will need to check when you want to get an object, when you want to get the projects, you actually need to do an API call. And an API call may fail if like projects is not there, blah blah blah, you will get 404, so then you can handle it somehow. When I parse my config, I don't want to do API request. Definitely, so yeah. This will be, right now it's string, we will see, maybe we'll later need to change it. Okay, last is lab, okay. So we need to add this to parsing as well. So we say, well, last used server name will be config get last used server name, and we'll say if last used server name, oh no, in config it's going to be this last used server, and if this name is something, then we will say that the last used server will be self get server last use server name, and then we also will say last used self last used lab, we will just get the object last used lab. Okay, I think this part is pretty much it. So I get the config file, no. Let me try doing this. So let's do this. Test path is path test path, and then open test file not found error. Well, I can either try accept this, or I can check if this file is present. So if self-config pass is file, if this is a file, then we will try to access this. Otherwise, yeah, I think this is okay for now. So if this config file exists, we will go ahead and read it, and we expect it to be correct, and then we'll do this parsing. Now another one is this. We also want to serialize it, to have it serialized. So let's do this. Result will be equal to dictionary. And if self servers result servers will be, and we will need to take every server if self servers, then for server in self servers we need to serialize our servers. Server dot serialized for server in self servers, and now result servers will be equal to servers. Okay, if self last used server, we will say result last used server will be server.name, self last server.name. If self last used lab, we'll say result last used lab is equal to self last used lab. Okay, so this is serialized part, and then when we save this, we take this serialized thingy and put it in the file. Oof. That was a little bit more lines than I expected for this version to be. Okay. We are missing some types, so let me fix this. So this type is going to be dict of string, and then you and fix this. Oh, correct. So now I return result. Okay. None. GNS3 server. Yada yada yada. Okay, this all looks good to me. Okay. It's not like we can run this because I don't have any kind of thing which is going to run this code. Or maybe I actually could do something like this. No, not at the moment. Okay, so let's at least check what my pie is saying here. GNS3 has no attribute serialized, maybe dot serialize. Okay, fair point. So here I had this. We will change this a little bit. We will have this serialized. Oh, what I'm doing? It's property, and this is going to be serialized. Since we call it from outside the class, we will have it public. No, we can actually make it private. Okay. We definitely need to change this. Okay, this part is fine, but not this part. So this serialized should do different thing now. It should give me a string. This is what I want from you. So what this is really needs to be doing is say actually not true. We would like to have dictionary of string and string. We are going to say result is going to be this. Host is so host self name. Name self name. Okay, now with username I want to add them only if they are present. So if username is not none, then the result username will be self username. If self password is not none, result password is equal to self password. Okay, and now we return this result, and this looks okay to me. We don't need this YAML style. Okay, this looks good. But then here we may have to change something. No, this looks good to me. Okay. Oh, nice. GNS3 has no attribute serial, no. Name dict is not defined. Control line 27. Oh, here. Right. Okay. GNS3 server has no attribute password. Oh, okay. Controller. Okay. GNS3 server has no attributes. This is, we are calling it from here. Access to protected member, right. Okay. Incompatible types in assignment. Config file 50 line 53. It says if self-use server expression has type str, target has type, wow. Wait a second. Expression has type str, target has type list dir str. What the hell? And it yells on both of this. Let me park this part for just a second. I'll deal with this part. Result. Well, this dict any is correct. Oh, okay, I see why. Here, so type dict str any. Okay, perfect. Yay, my pie is good to go. Okay. I can't say I'm very satisfied with progress today. It's not like I did a lot, but I think I did at least some foundation here for today. So yeah, I think we will wrap up for today. I still need to pack my stuff before I go. Probably I will also write some of this when I have time. It will not be only on the stream, so I will also commit this code maybe later today or tomorrow. Next stream is going to be 3 weeks from now, and I do believe that after this my schedule will be less travel intense, so you'll be able to keep with every week schedule. I'm going to post the recording of the stream today, probably without any timecode though. So yeah, just to summarize what we did here, we started building our API library. It's very long way to go. We defined a couple of objects that are going to be needed. We defined config. We created the handling, how you will be able to read the config file, and convert this config file to objects, and how to save this config file. That's not even a single basically CLI command, but it's also very important. So we will definitely have another stream where I will be doing some other part of this project live. It will be just not the next stream. I think next stream we will look on some network programmability technology. So yeah, guys, thank you very much for sticking with me today. Really appreciate you coming on Saturday. Have a great weekend. Have an easy working week. Next week, if you are coming to Cisco Life or DevNet Express, come and say hello. And with that, thanks, and till next time. Bye everyone.